Happy Friday afternoon. It's the last Friday of the first month of the year, so we're trucking along here pretty quickly. Feels like January just started, and we're already talking about welcoming February. I'm Jim with the Brewers Association of Maryland and Grow Fortify. Really excited to have today's chat with John from Locks Brewing. We'll jump to him in just a couple of minutes. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. While 2021 is starting off quite the same way that we left 2020 in terms of restrictions on the things that we can do due to COVID, there are some great opportunities opening up ahead of us. We're looking forward to that, but we will also be celebrating February. It is going to look a little bit different this year. We do not have a Love Thy Beer event like we normally do down in Silver Spring. Instead, this year, we're asking breweries throughout the state to showcase winter warmers with Love Thy Beer logos on their draft boards, menus, somewhere in their tap room, so that you know which winter styles to be looking for in lieu of joining us down in Silver Spring and drinking them all in one place. So when you're going and visiting these Maryland breweries over the next 4 weeks, please ask them where their Love Thy Beer logos are. Ask them which one of the winter warmers they have on. Ask them which styles are most appropriate for your winter sipping, and enjoy them safely and responsibly, and share pictures of them with us. We love to see that. Use the hashtag FebBrewery, and you'll see plenty of posts from us coming out. Also, we've got some great talks scheduled in the next couple of weeks for these Fermented Friday interactions. Next week, we'll actually be welcoming several women from the beer industry here in Maryland to come together and have a roundtable about kind of what they do in the industry, how much of an impact they make, and what the industry means to them. Also have a little bit of a chat about how we can get more women engaged with being craft beer consumers, making everybody feel more welcome in our tasting rooms throughout the states, and making sure that everybody is feeling as though they can be included in part of this great tradition of enjoying Maryland-made craft beer. We've got some other really exciting talks scheduled and planned. I don't want to let them all out of the bag yet, just because we want things to share with you. So keep an eye out for all that great stuff. Visit marylandbeer.org/FebBrewery, so spell brew out like a beer, and you can check everything out that we have going on. There's an event calendar there with things that are happening at breweries, like new releases, tap takeovers like the ones happening at Waradaka, where they're bringing in lots of different breweries from throughout the state. So just check it out. It's going to be a great time. We want you to celebrate with us. We want this to be part of something that you're happy to see going on in your beer world, and we want to share it with you. So thanks a lot for that. Snow's on the forecast for much of the state. Get out, support your Maryland breweries, whether you're going into their tasting rooms this weekend to pick up beer before the snow gets here, or you're going to your favorite local liquor and beer retailer and asking them to show you to their Maryland beer section. Just show your support for the industry. These businesses are here for you. They're making great beer for you, and they really, really could not survive without your support. You guys have been doing a great job. So thank you very much for that. And without further ado, John Watkins from Locks Brewing. How are you, sir?
Doing well, guys. Thanks.
Thanks
Good
for
to see you.
Us this afternoon. It's going to be a great time to chat.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Are you ready for any potential snow coming in the next couple of days?
Yeah, we have it in the forecast, but down here we're in Rockville, Maryland. We don't tend to get the brunt of it. It's further. It's like where you are up in Frederick near the mountains, where you tend to get the better, my opinion, the better part of the winter storms. But it is in the forecast.
There you go. Well, hopefully you'll see a little bit of a pop this weekend as people come in to get the beers that they need to take with them, or you'll see your delivery numbers going up and make sure that everybody has the beer that they need to stay safe and cozy on Sunday and Monday if the snow's coming.
Yes, we hope so too.
Oh, I like the lighting. The mood just got way more intimate. I feel like we're ready to have a great talk.
We're just getting ready to open the tap room, so the production lights are going out and switching over. I mean, we're only open for carryout and delivery at the moment because of COVID restrictions here in Montgomery County, which are probably some of the most strict in the state. But you're welcome to come and grab a beer and sit outside in the 30-degree weather if you like. And we certainly do have people who come on a daily basis and enjoy that experience.
Well, before we jump into kind of the background of Seven Locks, you kind of hit it right on the head how people can get a hold of your beer. But before we started, we were talking a little bit about how much delivery has meant to you guys. It's one of the things on our legislative agenda this year. Is that something that you could see Seven Locks being interested in pursuing for a long-term model, a new option to get beer into the consumer's hands?
Absolutely, absolutely. We for our direct to consumer was a big deal for us. We do our own right out of the brewery itself, but also the ability to be able to ship in state has been a huge deal ever since they allowed that this past year. And we certainly do have a number of people outside the state who would be interested in getting our beer shipped, but we just can't do it. But hopefully you guys can work on that. We would really appreciate it.
We are happy to be advocating for shipping in the state and delivery in the state. It's two very big things for the Brewers Association this year. These are really great additions to the revenue model, really great ways to add access to Maryland beer to the consumer, and we would hate to see them go away after we've kind of got a track record of showing how much of an impact it can make on our local brewery businesses and on the consumers' expectations. So why don't we kick off? Tell us a little bit about Seven Locks. We hear you're in Rockville. Tell us kind of a little bit about the background of the brand, what the name's all about, and what you guys have been doing there for the last 5 years.
Absolutely. Our owners, Jim and Keith, went to college together, University of Maryland. And after several adventures, when they started to settle down back into the area, they decided they wanted to open a brewery. And so Seven Locks was born. The main idea, the main concept behind it all is craft beer simplified. That's our main motto. But so just keep it simple. Don't get too crazy. Provide people with a beer that they're going to like, several varieties of beer they're going to like, and a place for the community to hang out, enjoy the beers. When we are normally open, we have a lot of really great activities that happen here. Also, it's a very Maryland-centric philosophy with regard to the name of the brewery, the name of the beers themselves. So people ask, of course, if we're on Seven Locks. That's a street over in Potomac, and in fact, we are not. The Seven Locks that they came up with in naming the brewery are a particular group of seven locks that you can basically see from one viewpoint. And that's locks 8 through 14 on the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, which is not too far from here. And so that was the seven locks we focused on. And then once they kind of got into that concept of keeping everything local, sort of a secondary motto that came out was Drink Maryland. You'll notice that all of the names are taken from local regional landmarks. So when we come up with a new beer, for example, I got to name my first beer back in the fall of last year because I happened to come up with a good one. They were in production. They were talking about their New England IPA that they were working on. They kept calling it Jazzy as a nickname for some reason. So I was like, let's see, local legendary DC jazz clubs. Blues Alley came to mind. I presented it with some background information, and the team took a look at it and said, that's an excellent name. And so hence my first beer naming happened back in September. So that was exciting. Very nice New England IPA, and a great place to see jazz when you get a chance when they open back up again. And so, yeah, that's the basis now. It's been 5 years. Everything was going along really well. This was a very busy tap room. It's a good sized tap room. And there were events planned for basically every night, Wednesday through Sunday. And so you had your core group of folks who would come and hang out. And then when the special events would happen, it would just kind of bump up everything else. And just a great place to hang out. You get the part I always loved about coming here before I started working here was I've got the brew house right there. I can just look at it. It's not behind glass or anything. I have to walk past it to get to the bathrooms, in fact. So I always just loved, the idea of being right next to the magic and then being able to drink it right here.
Kind of that immersive experience that you get in some of the other tasting rooms throughout the state too, where you come in and you have that feeling of being a part of what's going on around you.
Exactly.
Well, it's good to know that it's not named after the Montgomery County Jail that's located over there on 7 Locks. Good to know if maybe this was a situation where maybe we had some former offenders who have decided to open a brewery and pay homage to their favorite place.
Yes, it's true. We do field phone calls from time to time for folks looking for their family members, and we of course have the phone number close at hand so we can redirect them.
Oh well, that's very courteous of you.
Yeah. After a while, it's just like it would be nice. And by the way, if you wanted to come by and grab some beer,
Yeah. They won't let you take it in, but you can definitely
leave it in the car. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So since you've been there, what have you kind of learned about the brewing philosophy? I mean, the simple beer for everybody, like that's a great philosophy to have going into everything. How are you seeing that imparted on new recipe development and kind of the opportunities that you guys are pursuing? And I'll touch more on the opportunities you're pursuing in a minute, but I kind of want to get the philosophy behind it.
Yeah, it stays really close to that craft beer simplified. It's we try to find things that are interesting for us. Of course, we don't want to just brew beer that we love, but we want to brew good beers, but that aren't too complicated, that people can come in and say, I like this, and we can say, oh, you want to try a sample of that, and we made that connection. So that's been what I've seen is, as far as long as I've been here with regard to the recipes, is just it keeps it really simple, delicious, fresh, and that's really the whole point. The owners themselves, even, they don't want to like put a lot of themselves into it. They want it to be focused on the beer. They want people to come in and really enjoy, find something they love, maybe find a couple of different beers they love. But so far, yeah, I've been asked to bring in a recipe of mine. It's going to be a porter, but they want to keep it really simple, nice. Actually, it's a mezcal mole porter, which makes things a little complicated, but it's delicious and much smoother than you would think. It doesn't kick you in the face like you would imagine. But that'll be my first recipe that we'll try on a larger scale from my home brewing experience. But yeah, so far that's what I've seen. I started in the tap room last July, and I was able to learn about all the beers specifically there. But then production staff shifted here, and I was invited to become then the manager of the packaging and the barrel age program, as well as an assistant brewer. And so I've been working on that since August. But yeah, it's a keep it simple, stupid kind of concept, basically.
That's great. I know that there is appreciation from many in the community to have the beer be a true representation of the artisan that's making it. But there's also an appreciation for the beer speaking for itself and not having the personality of the brewer behind it. So I think that's great that you guys have kind of delved in on that focus. And while you're bringing ideas like a mezcal mole that represents your thought and your creativity, if you're focusing on making that beer be the best that it can be without too much of your own personal input, then that's great too.
Yeah, and that is the focus, definitely. And it's good. It's well received. People, like to come in and find a no-nonsense beer, but it is craft brewed. It's brewed right here locally, and they can have full access to it. That really has been successful.
The other point I was going to make about things that you have going on and opportunities you guys are pursuing has a little bit to do with the philosophy behind your community in Rockville and the surrounding area. You mentioned that you have a kind of a visible sightline from where you are to the C&O Canal. I know our friends that Visit Maryland had a little bit of a teaser about some new trail news coming up. And I know that you guys are going to be involved with a trail project celebrating the 50th anniversary of the C&O Canal. And there's a lot more detail about that coming out next week. But what inspired you guys to be a part of that? Was the proximity and the idea of being involved just too good to pass up?
So I was not informed about this at all, unfortunately. Do you know about being a part of Naming a Trail?
Naming a trail? No.
No. Apparently they kept it from the production team.
But tell us about it. Hello.
This is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
The other assistant brewer and canning line specialist.
Yes.
We crank out the cans, the two of us.
Tell us what you're talking about, naming a trail? Sorry.
Yeah, can you explain the project again about the trail?
So the C&O Canal is celebrating its 50th anniversary, and they've collected some breweries together to be a part of an ongoing trail. And I believe you guys have a special release coming out in the next couple of weeks that will be celebrating this.
I believe that's the Along the Towpath sour. It's a sour stout.
Your barrel aged.
It's one of our barrel aged. It's the most recent that I bottled. Thank you, Sarah. So yeah, I know about the beer.
Or make you announce it yet, but I figured I wanted to ask how much the gist of the question was more about how much being involved in the community means to your business, because like you said, you have a lot of supporters in your tasting room. It's quite the community. So just wondering kind of how your philosophy at the brewery has worked into that.
Oh,
It is hugely important. That was actually, I got some background information from the owners before getting ready for this. And that's a huge part of it, was just to be able to provide a space for the community to come and hang out. It's interesting here. We have we're really close to like NIH and some other government scientific buildings. And so we get a lot of like well-educated folks that come in. They're pretty knowledgeable about beer. People who know a lot about history, about the region. So it's kind of the perfect blend for folks to come in and really partake and be a part of the community. And that whole, like with those interesting evening programming events that we have here, that really creates and builds the community as well. So the beer that we're releasing is the Sour Stout. It's a barrel aged. It was in the barrel for 6 months. And then we added some fruit puree. There was cranberry, raspberry, and strawberry. We're going to be releasing it in the next couple of weeks as part of that, celebration of the C&O Canal.
Very cool. Again, didn't mean to put you on the spot there. I just wanted to tie you guys into that story because I think it's so great, and your proximity to the canal itself, I think, is very important. So just wanted to
absolutely.
put that out.
No, absolutely. And just like, along with the whole naming of the beers and everything being regional, it is a big deal. And so, we work on that. The events that we have on Friday is all, on Sundays is all dog centric. So it's all about we have an adoption company come in and they'll bring some puppies that people can visit with and, apply to adopt. So that's been very important too. So outreach wise. And here comes a bottle of our, I'm not sure I'm supposed to show you this yet, but here's a bottle.
Sneak peek.
It's called the Along the Towpath. It's part of a series.
Sorry, I'm technologically unadvanced.
And that's a sour stout barrel aged.
This one's Fletcher's Cove.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you. So
is that cork and gauge?
Yes.
Very cool. I love that presentation.
We do that by hand.
Wonderful.
That's usually one of my longer days.
I'm sure. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys are producing. You gave me a list of beers today that you'd like to share with our viewers and kind of walk them through. In general, what does your portfolio look like? And is there any style that's like weighing your portfolio more than the others? This is a very big time for fruited sour, extraordinary releases from people, or out of this world New England IPAs. What I've seen from Seven Locks tends to have a very firm foot in tradition and still embrace kind of this idea of playfulness and whimsy. So what does your portfolio look like, and where are you guys trying to keep that?
Let's see if I just spin this around here. You can see I don't know if the lights probably prevent that from being easily readable, but we've got at the moment the Surrender Rye. It's our Rye Pale Ale. That's our flagship. The name is going through some changes. That's why I'm just calling it Surrender at the moment, but we can talk more about that later. We do have a nice Rauch beer right now. Very nice, like not overly smoky. It's really beautiful. We do have a couple. No, at the moment we only have one of our sours. Our Bitch Monkey is a series. We always use the same base, and then we'll figure out the adjuncts. Either it's a dry hop or it's a fruit puree. Grubby Thicket Brown Ale is one of our more popular. It's a nut brown ale. So seasonal wise, we've got some nice dark beers going on right now. The Rauch and the Brown. Our Below the Belt Blonde is basically our seasonal light beer. It's delicious. We canned it the other day, and on the canning line, of course, we sample as often as we can, and it was fantastic. Then the Oatmeal Raisin Stout is my preferred at the end of the day pint, basically. Tastes like an oatmeal raisin cookie, but it still has all the good qualities of the stout, coffee, and whatnot. It's delicious. One of my favorite lagers is the Raven Rock Black Lager we have on tap right now.
Ooh.
It's solid. It is solid. Like dark, yummy. And then, of course, fun one. Fall line is a Flanders Red Sour. So it's got like some super body to it. Good, like the red is just a beautiful color. Then to finish up, our Devil's Alley IPA is our West Coast IPA. That's like our second best-selling beer that we have. And then my at the bottom there, we can see my Blues Alley New England IPA. We try to keep the cores basically what you have now. The Surrender, the Devil's Alley, and the Redland Lager are three of our cores. And then we switch between the Below the Belt Blonde and the Pilsner, the Paint Branch Pilsner. It's a Czech-style Pilsner that we have. We're just going to be canning that in a couple of weeks. So, it's a good variety. There's a lot of different stuff, different things. Like we always try to provide a lot of different options for people to try. Either, right now we're not doing flights, for example, as many breweries aren't. But when we can, we do. And it's a really great way to just kind of try a good variety. But then, of course, you just have people who want to come in and there's just that one beer that's the only one they want, and that's fine. So, So, and then we'll do in terms of our like bottle aged, we'll take any of those cores or any of the specialty ones that we'll do, throw them in a barrel, leave them in there for 6 to 12 months, and add some purees or whatever, and then we come out with those on mostly special releases for special events. But those turn out, for the most part, really good. One of my favorites of the bottle age is the barrel age. It's the Belgian Quad that we made. It's fantastic at 11%, just rich and thick, and good to share with friends.
It truly does sound like you guys have embraced kind of the approach of classic style. We always love dog photo bombs.
This is Barley.
Hey, Barley.
Barley just joined us. Barley's a rescue from South Carolina.
Oh, very cool.
It's going to be our brew house dog.
So I was in the process of saying, I think it's always cool when you can embrace truly like the heritage of what brought craft beer up with some of the styles that you're talking about there. You've got West Coast IPA, things like that. Flanders Red, those aren't styles that are foreign to somebody who's been following craft beer for several years. But you're also embracing these new styles. New England IPA, you've got some funky things going on with the stout with raisin and stuff like that. I think that's all wonderful, and it's expressing some really neat ideas. So very cool. Yeah. Which of the beers that you wanted to talk about specifically today would you like to start with as your demonstration?
I think I'd like to start with the Surrender Blank.
Okay.
If you have the can on hand, that's your red can. That's our flagship. Not only is it named after a landmark, we get a nice little description on the side of each of our cans too. It gives you a little bit of backstory or a little bit of poetry, a little bit of something that goes along with the beer. Years ago, for those of you from the area or in the area, there's an overpass bridge on the Beltway in DC. As you're heading west, you'll see the Mormon temple in the background. And at some point, a clever spray painter got onto that bridge and managed to paint Surrender Dorothy. We thought it was so hilarious, we decided to name a beer after it, and it became very popular. Originally, the label art included several members of the cast of The Wizard of Oz in costume. And you can see the Yellow Brick Road here and the Mormon temple that looks just like Oz. Someone took exception to that, and so now we no longer have the characters from the movie, and very soon we will no longer have this name here, which I can't even say out loud, and that Yellow Brick Road. It will just be Surrender with the Mormon temple. So this is a rye PA, like I mentioned. It's a pale ale, medium bodied. This is super popular. If people come in and they, like, I don't like IPA because it's too hoppy, but I like a good pale ale. We always offer them this. It's a medium body. It's super easily drinkable. The rye sort of mellows out the hops. It's copper in color. Let me just grab a glass to pour that into.
There you are.
Oh, look, it's a BAM glass. Who knew?
That label might need a rework. I'm thinking Surrender over any religious point of observation would be a hard conversation to have.
Good point. Very good point. It's a temporary solution, which we're kind of working on. So the Surrender beer, slightly resinous, a little bit of citrus hop aroma to it. Got a little bit of spice you feel, but you can taste and smell with the rye. So you get kind of a unique take on a hoppy beer without it being like overloaded. So you get it's well balanced, easy drinker. Surrender. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm just here to observe.
Okay, watch me drink. Anyway, that's a big one. That one we sell. It's crazy.
6-pack 12-ounce cans, right?
6-pack 12-ounce cans. You can get a growler here at the tap room as well. And a 6-pack here will run you $12. That seems like a deal. $2 a beer.
I like seeing that beer around town. Like you and I were talking about, I'm in Frederick, so it pops up quite regularly in the shops around me. And we actually have a barbecue joint pretty much catty corner from my house that's got a great carryout beer selection, and that beer is always in their carryout.
Nice. Yeah, it's like I say, got friends who are in retail, and they're just like, yeah, I can't keep it on hand. It's just, I'm gonna keep them flowing in through here. Without naming any names, we had a recent pop. It was a really nice start to the winter pop with somebody changed that graffiti to surrender somebody else's name. And so we took that joke and grabbed it, and I don't want to offend anybody, so I won't talk any further about it. But that was a very popular beer. It was basically the same recipe with a bitter aftertaste. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, it was good for the brewery. Let's put it that way. So yeah, that's your Surrender, Dorothy. Are people chatting or commenting?
I don't have any commenting yet. I've asked for input if anybody's got it. We sometimes get folks that are just here to kind of listen and see what's going on and to learn about you.
Nice.
I am curious, how widely distributed is Seven Locks beer in the state? Are you guys pretty much everywhere?
We're everywhere in the state and in DC as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because we are allowed to do DC. It's taxed at a little bit of higher rate, but we'll do it. We'll make it work. We're in all the Trader Joe's. We're soon to be in all the Whole Foods down there. Working on the Giant. We're already in Safeway, and then a lot of like smaller moms and pops as well. But yeah, it's going well. We're newly working on the Baltimore region, and yeah, but typical brewery, Maryland brewery, started small and local, and it's just slowly spreading out with popularity.
Sure.
Yeah, so
it is very interesting as having the conversation about Maryland beer. Your proximity to the metropolitan areas really makes a difference. It's one of those things where folks in Baltimore may say, "Hey, why can't I get this Maryland beer here?" And it seems like it's all going to DC, but the proximity to that area and who your customer is really kind of pulls the beer where it needs to go.
Yep, that's true. Exactly.
What's the next beer on the lineup that you would like to talk about?
I think we should go with Devil's Alley, the green one. So Devil's Alley, West Coast IPA, lots of hops, secondary fermentation. It's packed with, we got orange, honey, some pineapple aromas, the flavors like full-on citrus. Get some sweet, juicy oranges, some bitter grapefruits, and it's making my mouth water. I better pour some into my.
This sounds like the absolute late '90s West Coast IPA, like Pacific Northwest all the way.
Yes, totally. Got some pine in there, some resin. It's really nice. Yeah, Devil's Alley, a local campground / spot near the Appalachian Trail where you can hike and spend the night. Thus named. It comes in at 7.6 ABV in real life. We like to say it comes in at 6.66 ABV for obvious reasons, because it's Devil's Alley. This guy won the 2019 Maryland Craft Beer Competition. It got a gold medal, American IPA style. Yeah. But yeah, it's that kind of like, I'm going kayaking. I need a 6-pack of something to take along. That's this right here.
Something flavorful, thirst quenching.
Leaves you wanting more. Oh,
there you go.
So good. All right, so that's Devil's Alley. Yeah.
So are you with a more traditional West Coast IPA, are you seeing that there's still strong demand in your location for that?
Absolutely, yeah. It feels like if I were to think about the guests that come through here, it feels like people got onto it when it was first introduced and never moved off. Like they don't want to talk about hazy, they don't want to talk about New England, they don't want to talk about any of that fruity stuff. They want this sharp, the pine needles, the hops, the bitter, and it's cool. It's like, hey man, if that's your thing, go for it.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's Devil's Alley. We would move on to then the Redland Lager.
I was going to let you take another sip of that before I push us along.
Thank you. Redland Lager. It's an area nearby. It's a neighborhood with a big park. It's very familiar to local residents. This is comes in at 6.3% ABV. I'm a hophead, so I was kind of closed-minded in that sense. But when I started working here, I started drinking this, and I was just like, man, this is like one of the best lagers I've ever had. It's smooth. It's a red lager, slightly earthy malt combined with like gentle floral and caramel aroma. The end result is like a perfectly smooth, balanced, easy drinking beer. And this was not up on the board. We sold out in kegs. Of course, kegging has taken a back seat at the moment. Everything basically, except for like a couple of sixtels, a couple of half barrels, restaurants and bars really aren't ordering anything anymore because it's basically sitting there. But we do have Prince George's County is a little bit more open. DC has opened up a little bit more. So we are starting to see more interest in kegging. So we'll start to pull some of those out and filling those up again. But here's the Redland Lager. Nice and smooth, balanced, good color.
Very nice color.
Very nice. So I would say that's like our third most popular beer. Caramel hits your tongue, right? Oh, yeah, nice. If I say so myself.
So very, very malt present on the introduction of the taste, and then nice, clean, crisp finish.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too many lagers out there. That's an interesting approach, and I think it's really nice in the lineup. Yeah,
definitely. It brings you to something. The next popular one to this that we currently don't have is the Snake Den Saison, which is a Belgian Saison. I would say that's like the next in line in popularity because it, again, provides you a little bit something different that you're not used to finding. So which kind of nods to the tradition of beer, and yet this is like the nod to the tradition with a little bit of a turn, a little bit of a twist on it. Yeah, that's good. Thanks for letting me taste all our beers.
It's always nice to have an excuse to do it while people watch you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the final one I would have us taste here is our Bitch Monkey. As I mentioned, it's the same base recipe. So it's always Bitch Monkey. And then this one is with guava, which was the first iteration that was fruited here. And it's been the most popular so far over the years. So we keep coming back to it. It's just, what does the writing say? The enthusiasm around our fruited Bitch Monkey releases all started with the guava sour. Still remains a favorite. The addition of guava gives it a funky tropical sweetness. And it's a super approachable. Our sour base is pretty mild. It's not crazy. It's not going to make you pucker up. But the fruit basically perfectly balances it out. The story behind Bitch Monkey is that this is a set of rapids in the Potomac that folks kayak through, and the kayakers named it Bitch Monkey, the Bitch Monkey Rapids. And so we borrowed that name.
Well, it's good to know the background of the name. I was going to ask because it is it's so derived from everything else, or not even derived. It's just so different. It's out in left field compared to the rest of the names in your portfolio. So I was quite curious what it might mean.
No, it's true. Yeah. So in addition to the landmarks, being just very specific to the region, the majority of them are hiking, kayaking, biking, sort of outdoorsy, since that's like a lot of the folks that work here, the owners, they're very outdoorsy into all the, camping and hiking and kayaking and such. So, in fact, Sarah, the assistant brewer there, she owns like 2 or 3 kayaks, I believe. But yeah, this is the Bitch Monkey, and it's very popular. The one that we have on tap right now is dry hop with Citra hops. So it kind of goes back and forth between the dry hop with a variety of hops versus the fruited puree.
So almost a sour IPA approach in terms of aroma.
Yes, exactly.
Very cool. And are all of those varietals canned, or are they one-off cans, and then the majority of them are just tap room only?
Yes, we can almost all of the varietals. If it's a really small batch and it's only going to be for tap room, we won't. But if, like for example, the Fall Line Flanders got canned, the Raven Rock Black Lager got canned. So we try to do as many as we can. The other part of the story, I don't know if I mentioned, was back in July, we stopped doing contract canning and bought our own machine, bought our own line. So that's been in the works. And basically it takes us from, being able to afford to do 1 run per week to do it in 2 or 3 runs per week, because let's be honest, the majority of the business is coming from the retail that's going outbound right now. So, excuse me, it's been kind of a business saving sort of godsend. But I can tell you from a personal experience, it's a difficult thing to do every day.
For sure.
It's a lot of moving pieces, but it's been fascinating. I mean, I love that part of my job, but it's challenging and fascinating at the same time.
I'm sure. It's always nice to jump into a role as somebody who's going to be involved with, producing beer, and now you're asked to be a mechanical engineer and an electrician and a plumber.
That's it. All of those things. Yep.
You're a jack of all trades, I suppose. Yeah,
it's true. I've been doing a lot of things throughout my various careers, but it feels like it's kind of all accumulating right here with regard to being mechanical, loving beer, making beer, knowing how everything works.
It's awesome.
So it's been good.
So why don't you let the audience know kind of what you guys are doing to accept orders for carry out and delivery and all that kind of stuff? You said you're doing some shipping inside the state. How can people get Seven Locks beer to their doors, or how can they come to you to get beer?
The easiest, most ultimate COVID safe process would be to go to our website, 7locksbrewing.com, and that's the 7 number, LOCKS brewing.com. And you can order right there. You can order for shipping anywhere inside the state of Maryland. You can order for home delivery within, I'm not sure the parameters exactly, but I'm assuming, I know I've been on those deliveries, and I've gone all the way down to DC, all the way up to Frederick. So it's a pretty big parameter, but it has to be in the state, of course. The tap room is open, somewhat limited hours than normal, of course, but it's basically Wednesday through Friday from 3 to 9, and then weekends from 1 till 10, Sundays from 1 to 8. And you're welcome to order online, drive in, park in a parking lot, call us, we'll bring it out to you. Or if you feel comfortable, mask up, come on in, keep your distance from other folks, and you can pick it up right here at the tap room. So bunch of different ways. And then more and more we're getting out into the stores. So your local store, if they have good craft beer selection, we should be in there.
Very good. I just wanted to make sure that we had that captured in our comments as well, so that people can find you easily and place their orders. I think that you guys had a great lineup to talk about today. You've got a lot of great beers in the portfolio that people can choose from right now. Sounds like you've got a couple of favorites there in the core lineup. So I'm thinking that it wouldn't be too hard to please you or get you to point people in the right direction. So that's good.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I think I was one of the first level 1 Cicerones to come in to the brewery, and they were kind of like, a couple of the staff were kind of like, what does that mean? And I was like, well, it just makes it easier for me to discuss with people, if they come in and say, I like this kind of beer, I can say, why don't you try this? Or
Yeah.
how's it made? Well, here's how it's made. So kind of inspired some of the folks here too to kind of learn a little bit more about the beer and be just. I think it helps for the customer experience just to be able to say, you're going to like this or you're not going to like that.
Absolutely. And to give them, a little bit of the history behind how these styles came about and where they come from and the origin story. Who doesn't love that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's true.
All right. Well, I really appreciate your time this afternoon, John. Thanks for taking a few minutes to chat with me and share your great beers. Looking forward to getting down there and meeting you in person. Sorry that we're meeting under virtual circumstances, but sooner than later, we'll be able to enjoy a beer together.
Sounds good, man. Look forward to it.
If you're tuned in this afternoon, or if you're watching this in the next couple of days, I hope you're enjoying the impending snowstorm. I hope maybe we get a few flurries around the state and everybody can pretend like they're celebrating winter a little. Please don't forget, February kicks off on Monday, February the 1st. We'll do a little tapping in the afternoon virtually, so you can join us for that, do a toast, all that kind of good stuff. And then throughout the month of February, check for those Love Thy Beer icons and ask your breweries that you're visiting which of their beers is most suitable for winter drinking. There's going to be lots of great input on that, and we hope that you enjoy the month. Visit marylandbeer.org for any questions, comments, or concerns about the state of the industry. We love your support. Thank you all very much, and drink a Maryland beer this weekend. Cheers.
Thanks, Jim. Take care.